Well, our first ever project, as I said, initially I did not want to go the project donor route at all. But I still have a friend who's a school teacher. He is no longer, but he was, in a school in a barrio here called Panama. It's not the country, it's a barrio. And he asked me one day if I'd like to go visit his school with him. And I said, yeah, sure. So I went to see the school and came out of the school absolutely astounded with how few resources this school was functioning on. I mean, Hector, the teacher, literally had a blackboard. He had no chalk. He had nothing to actually mark the board for the kids. He had one, I'll never forget this, he had one ruler, and that was about it. The kids had hardly any books between them, very few textbooks in those days. That's very different now. Hardly any exercise books. And Hector told me some stories. I mean, there were kids in that class of all ages, virtually between 6 and 11. Kids of all different levels of abilities, children that would have been given a special needs diagnosis in the UK almost immediately. So incredibly demanding on the teacher, obviously. 2 to a desk, the kids, there weren't enough desks to go round, no electricity, no running water. I mean, I was just completely... And Hector said, do you think some of your students would donate maybe some basic things for the children? Because one of the things, for example, is a lot of the children don't have shoes. And he told me the story of 2 sisters who attended the school on alternate days because they only had one set of clothes between them. So I said, you know what, I think people probably would like to help, especially if I can bring a group up to visit and see for themselves. And so that's what we did, and from there started the first project. And I'm actually still in touch with, she's a British woman, and she was in that first group, and she gave salsa classes in England at that time. And she said, you know what, I'm going to go back to England, I'm going to give salsa classes, and the money I make, we're going to build a library here and have a preschool children's project here. And that's what she did. And we actually built quite a big preschool project there, which was very well provided with materials and toys and appropriate learning opportunities for the children there. So that project went very well until a couple of years ago when we ran into difficulties with the political situation. And we had to close the project in the school, but we moved it to another project in the community. And that was the first project. And so the children's projects have just expanded using the same kind of model in different communities. I generally don't go out and find a project. What happens is that people come to us from a community and say, look, we have this need. For example, in a barrio called Los Mercados, the leader there, Alexi, would really like to have English classes for the young children to give them a head start when they go to secondary school in the barrio. It's a project we already do in another barrio, so we have a model for it. And we would do it, but we can't because we don't have the resources right now. But that's how the projects develop here, except for the animal ones. That's entirely my fault.
Valeria. Good afternoon, my name is Valeria. Spring is here, goodbye snow, flower growth, bird and bees, leaf of tree. Hello spring, thank you. Yeah.